We partying it up. Hell yeah. Where's Castoria? After dinner. It says, oh yeah, I've been wondering for a while, but what is a family to a fairy? What kind of system does fairy have as a family? Yeah, I saw a lot of brothers and sisters in Salisbury, but I never seen a parent to a child. It says, of course, none of that happens. After all, fairies are all born out of nothing, aka they're individually manifested. The reason why people would call others brothers or relations to relatives is because their attribute of the fairy that the attribute of the fairy that talks has a similar attribute. Therefore, they are friends. That's about it. But there are unique circumstances, just like yesterday. Those seven fairies, just like those seven fairies, right when their existence came to be, there were seven people set as one fairy. I guess in fairyland, that's the rule of the law of sort. Essentially here, chat, Oberon is saying that we don't have a technical family, right? We don't have a parent to a child. Because we kind of self-manifest, right? They all independently manifest out of thin air because of, circumstances. The reason why people would call each other brothers or relatives or have a tribe factor is that essentially what it all comes down to is that certain fairies might have the certain attribute that the others would can relate to. Essentially, like, learning the fire nation, water nation, blah blah blah, something like that. Easy as hell. All the same people, but the way they're learning things makes them quote unquote related. Not really like blood related, but just as a friendly gesture. So what does daughter mean? I keep hearing about Fairy Knight Tristan being the daughter of Morgane. What is that all about? Ha 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 ha. You're so silly. Tristan can never be Morgane's daughter. It just means that she is the kin, aka the next ruler of the queen, is what it means. If I were to explain it in more human terminology, Queen Morgane has claimed Tristan the heir of the throne. To a fairy, their quote-unquote daughter or son is what quote-unquote what their son or daughter is it is themselves, right? It is themselves after they died. It's their next generation of who they are. It says, well, let me explain it thoroughly. For an example, here, this is a fairy A that spins that spins a thread. After 100 years, Fairy A, who spins a thread, has reached its objective, done everything it can, and now has gone to sleep. But the fairy who spins a thread, its job and its fairy's existence will never disappear from Britain. After the spin wheel fairy A dies out, Britain will already manifest and spit out fairy B of the thread spinner. This relationship is called the predecessor, and this would call the current generation and next generation and current generation. It says, oh, I see. Then if that's the case, does the new generation inherit all their talent? In human terms, like DNA, family, memory, name, they've got a lot of things and heritages and treasures and other important values transferred over to them. But what about the fairies? It says, well, fairies are born individually, independently manifested. So there's no relation or there's no connection to what you've just made. The current generation and the next generation are two different fairies. Memories, well, no. I think it's better to say story. Chikaraのある妖精ならそれくらいは引きずるけど、基本的にはまっさらな次なんだよ。It says if there is a fairy who can do that, there is a rare occurrence here and there, but most of the time, basically, it's given to the next generation. とはいえだ、牛は同じ以上、ある程度の能力、習字を取ったものになる。だから、なんで生まれてきたようと、いつ生まれていたようと、その妖精は、妖精の糸巻きとわかるんだ。So it says no matter what, you also gotta understand their job never changes and their description doesn't change as much as you think. So in technicality, their job is the same, their function is the same, and therefore, their abilities will be similar, if not the same. So no matter what they are born with or extra attachments, when they are born with, that fairy will always be a fairy that threads its spin their threads. So if that's true, right? If that is true, that means is that Caster or Woden is still alive, because every time technically he dies, he'll come back as something else. But it's still Woden Ku. It says, but in rarest occasion, even though the current generation is still alive, there will be fairies that will be born with a similar description. A very rare case, but in this situation, this rare case will be the perfect example of what represents the current generation giving the purpose to the daughter and the son. So in this case, Morgan's daughter is a fairy that can use magic. That's the case to fit the bill. After all, in this Britain, only queen who can use human magic is Queen Morgane. The mage that was magic that was given to Tristan as a heir of the throne, and the Artoria that was born with magic attached. To us fairies, in our perspective, they are both the same being. They are the daughter of Morgane, same attribute or properties as the queen. I see. So that's why she hates the prophecy girl. I understand that Fairy Knight's feelings now. It's because it's becoming a rumor, and it's becoming the fact that the child of prophecy is being labeled as the daughter of Morgane. That's not really the case, though, Artoria. That's not the case, though, Artoria. You've got that wrong. You are not daughter of Morgane because you can use magic. It's whoever can use magic can become the king of the fairy land that controls fairies. That is what I think, in my opinion. That's why Morgane gave magic to Tristan. Saying stuff like, you're the next queen, do whatever you see fit with this Britain. Yeah, it's the quote-unquote not giving the throne to the prophesized child. I think it's a Morgane way of saying, fuck you, prophecy. But in reality, here you are in front of us, able to use magic all on your own from birth. To Morgane, that's... No. Technically, for Tristan, it's almost as witnessing, oh my god, there's the genuine one.オークションの会場で取り乱していたのもその恐怖に耐えきれなかったからじゃないかな。It says maybe during the auction, the reason why she was so nervous and tensed and made errors is perhaps because she couldn't handle that fear of prophecy slowly becoming true. I wonder if that's the case. I'm not even sure if I was giving her any fears or anxiety. Well, you did. And with that being said, because what you've done and because how she felt, you probably cannot ignore the fight against Tristan any longer. But don't worry about it. Let's take it easy. Take it easy a step at a time. It says the fact that you can use magic, that itself presets that you are the child of prophecy, and you have a fate and a luck that you can defeat the queen. No matter how powerful Morgane may be, and no matter how annoying and strong the fairy knights could be, as long as you are the child of prophecy, you are the main protagonist in this current Britain. It says, if you do what must be done, if you done what needs to be done, if you do it, I believe that the prophecy will be fulfilled automatically. All we're going to do is give you a helping hand. In the end, as long as you are alive, Britain will be saved. Even if in the middle of this conquest, if couple people were to fall or exit the stage. Nuts. It says, oh no, I can't go to bed. It's essentially Oberon TLDR that some people will die in this journey, right? And we know that, you know, death ain't no fucking joke for us. It says, I know why you can't sleep. You got too much on your mind as of this moment, right? It says, hey, 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 you don't have to get up, my friend. You don't have to stand up. I wanted to go gather more information, but I saw you staring just all by your lonesome. Can I be next to you just a little bit? Good? Then don't mind if I do. Excuse me. It says, well, to make things easy on ourselves, why don't we talk the journey we had so far? Let me hear, while you're here, let me hear about the longest tale. The Losbelt tale. The very long story until you've gotten far. I see. So that's what journey you had. So that is the journey that Karudea is having, huh? The future of the Earth. Asobi Shinobi, thanks for the follow. The future of the Earth, the cease of humanity. The Losbelt you visited, and yourself that is here out of all the events. It seems that no wonder you can't go to bed. It seems that the conversations and my wording in the last side definitely didn't help. It says in the Child of Prophecy, you have something backed up or something you resonate to this kind of deal. Well, you feel like you're feeling something else. Guilty, or perhaps sympathy. Artoria, from here on out, she'll probably shed more blood than we can ever imagine. But to you, that is a story you should not be concerned with. After all, until now, you were the main protagonist that burdened those, that entrusted those burdens to. Even if it was difficult, you were still able to do it. No, I apologize. I shouldn't say it like that. You had to fight. You had no choice. Everything was necessary, and you are all responsible for your actions. It says, but you don't have that responsibility this time. You're going to rely on someone else. You're going to have to, you're going to have to use Artoria, and she will be the one shedding blood. That's why, that's why you're confused, and that's why you don't feel so good. Maybe in this Losbelt, you might even think yourself as a coward or a cheater. Because because you're already thinking that in your mindset, you were not here to save the fairyland in the first place. That may be true. You always constantly prioritize of getting your friend, right? After all, if anything were to happen to Mash, it will be your responsibility, correct? Oh. You were surprised by that response? Come on. I understand, even though whenever you look so normal. But this is a what if. Okay? Don't take it seriously. It's only hypothetical. In the future, if Mash were to go out in the town or a place you were not there, and if she were to die by accident, is that really your fault? Is it because you didn't look and pay attention and protected her 24/7? 46 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not it, right? That's not worrying. That's just self-judgment. You're essentially hurting yourself by saying these things. Mash is a human. One human at that. She is a human that needs to survive all on her own one day or somehow. If you do respect her and you do care for her, and if she is she is an opponent that you are delighted with, I think you shouldn't worry about her, but you should trust her. It says that whenever you heavy your burden of responsibilities, and if you keep burdening that responsibilities and don't give it to anyone else or don't talk about it, little by little, your heart would weigh. Your heart would weigh. You will grow heavy, and you will stop moving. But then again, from the journey so far, if you keep this up, I should say that your heart would now no longer resides anywhere if you were to continue the path. After all, from what I'm hearing, your footwork was much more easy-handed as a human being. You're a human, remember? You're a humanoid that enjoys living the way you want your life. Yeah, live however we like. Yeah. Live however you like. That does not mean living the easy life, right? Something that you so desire, something that you want to know. You would do anything in your strength and everything in your power to achieve that. And in order to strive and struggle to achieve that, isn't that technically what it's called? Living however you like. I believe that's what I heard, and that's what I'm hearing and seeing from the stories of the incineration of during your incineration era, but I never seen anything for myself. It says you and I are very similar. Probably in this Britain, we share the same role. We are an observer. We are only an observer and a support in this role. Unfortunately, you and I cannot do anything to overcome or to decisively change this world. Just like the Midnight Summer Dreams, Fairy King Oberon could not do anything. All you can do now is to watch over. The battle that will be bloodshed up ahead, you can only support them by pushing their backs or stabilizing them. So, just because you can only do that, that does not give you the right nor the reason to put yourself in the corner. Because in the end, there was always a place, there's always a role that you must fulfill for. A role that where no one exists but you for the perfect role. Only you're allowed to do so. Something that would overturn the entirety of the current situation. Right? Sounds pretty cool if you explain it that way. So you should wait until that time comes. You should go to bed now. And besides, an observer, what's wrong with being just an observer? Viewers and watchers. Viewers and watchers also have a good meaning, and we have our own set of pride. Until the very, very end, make sure you show off your amazingness that not even the gods could ever predict. Show off your amazing talent. I bet you to snap the fate right on its nose would be the most funnest thing of them all. So essentially, Oberon is like, we all have our jobs. Only we can do this. We gotta bide our time and wait for our super moment. And besides, at the very end, let's show off the gods something that they will never predict, right? Let's show off something that they'll never predict, and let's be the shining star to steal all the glory. Lighting the note, right? Akaste, I don't know. Ruining the fates. It's essentially saying that showing fate's nose is going to be so much fun. Essentially referring to as, bending the fate. Bending the fate from its own will be the most funnest thing in the world. So you laugh and says, what the hell? That sounds very, that sounds like a very Oberon thing to say. Fucking, thank you. I feel better. It says, it's not funny at all, my friend. My livelihood depends on that. Yeah, that's what I'm always constantly thinking and moving around with that mindset. Protag. It says who you are and what you are. I'm pretty sure there's nobody in the world that can just explain. That can just easily explain what you've did and what you've done. Unless we are an instrument or a tool, then we just need to learn the manual, and there's no problem. But we're a living creature. Ever since we were born, Maretsuki Faji. What is a Faji? I think ever since we were born, we're fragile. But everybody has that one moment where they can say, this is the greatest quality about me, right? It does get a little embarrassing if you say it out loud. And if we were to explain people in that terminology, then I'm not the coward and I'm not the scaredy cat. And that can be said for you too. The Mothman. It says, oh, my bad, Buranka. It seems that I got caught up and was too concentrated on the conversation at hand. Let's collect our information at Manchester tonight. Now we're getting somewhere with the Northern Side report. With that said, I'll see you next time until later evening. I want to avoid not missing out the dinner party like I did last time. Wait. Huh? What is your objective, Oberon? It says, well, that's of course to defeat Morgan. It's not much, but I did get summoned for that reason, right? Huh? You don't care about the reason for summoned by humanity or whatnot? Ah, so that's what you want to ask. It says, man, you put me on the spot. I've said something so grandioso that it's a little hard to mess around or, not take this answer seriously. Ah. Yeah. I'm looking for Titania. That's what I thought, my friend. But Titania is in the past. Didn't I talk about it? It's the Queen of Oberon. Fairy Queen Titania, that one girl that loved Oberon no matter what. If it's a possibility, I would like to beat her. But then again, it is an objective that is too absurd and impossible. Titania is only a fairy created in the fictional story. In the proper human history, she does not exist. That's right. She was only allowed to exist in a folklore, in a story.